All right, everybody, welcome in. Jarrett Bailey joined by football royalty and a good friend, Ken Anderson, former quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals. It's good to see you again, sir. How are you?
I am doing great, thank you.
Last time we talked was during last year's playoff run. I think it was right after the Tennessee game. And a lot has happened since then. Obviously, Cincinnati making it to the Super Bowl, coming up short, but so many expectations were cleared by this team, and they continue to just surpass all expectations. Playing really well as of late, defeating Tennessee and Kansas City in back-to-back weeks. Your thoughts on the team right now after a slow start, but they've rebounded really well. So, just your thoughts on the team as of right now.
Well, I think the big question mark on offense was going to be the offensive line, I think, which was showed up the first couple of weeks. But I think the thing that kind of stands out to me lately, number one, the offensive line has been playing very well.
Yeah.
And I think one of the reasons is they've kind of committed themselves to the run a little bit, where Joe's not throwing it 52 times a game and running at 8, so it makes that a little bit easier for the offensive line. And I think the other thing is the way that the backups have performed. When you talk about Samaje Perine, coming in, we lost DJ Reader for, a while. It's just kind of, Trent Irwin, all of a sudden, he shows up when Jamar Chase has been out for a while. So I think, the depth and having those guys ready. And I think it just always goes back to that you hear guys talking. It's the culture in the locker room. It's guys that like to be there. They like the process of getting ready for a game and working hard at it, and they expect results.
How much credit does Zach Taylor deserve for all of this? Because obviously, like I mentioned, 0-2 to start off the season. The offense looks very stagnant, but a lot of clear adjustments made since then. I feel like last year Zach Taylor was kind of looked at as, like a one-hit wonder type situation. Like, okay, but can you do it again type head coach? He looks like he has answered the bell more often than not. How much credit do you give Zach Taylor for all the success that Cincinnati's had?
A ton. From the day he took the job, he talked about the culture he wanted to have in that locker room. Right. And it took him a while to get those players. You can't have a major turnaround, in 1 year sometimes with personnel. But he's got the guys in there. And to a man, you hear him talking about it. They had Victory Monday. Well, who was it? One of the DBs came in at 9:30. The whole team was already there on an off day, getting a lift in, getting treatment in, getting ready for the next week. And I don't mind giving a Victory Monday off. I know they're going to be here anyway. So, but that's, kind of every successful team is kind of, that way. And I remember I was just this week, I was getting ready for my podcast, and I was listening to Paul Brown's training camp speech from 1973. And it says, the team will be, only as good as the quality of the men that we have in the locker room. And that applied back in 1973, and it applies today.
The quarterback, Joe Burrow, is quickly becoming one of the best in the game. Just the way that he plays, the preciseness that he has to his game, the fact that he has now beaten Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs 3 times this calendar year. The sky seems to be the limit for this promising young quarterback. What are your thoughts on Joe?
Oh, no, he's the real deal. The way he plays, he's accurate. His football IQ is just off the charts. When the headsets go out one time, it was no big deal. He just, knows what plays he'd like to get, and he gets to those plays, execute them. The team has tremendous confidence in him, and he's got confidence in his teammates. It doesn't make any difference, who he's throwing the ball. If that's the guy to go to, they're going to get a chance to make it. And, Tyler Boyd, missed that touchdown catch last week, but he wasn't afraid to come right back to him. He's not afraid to go to Trent Irwin in a crucial situation, a couple weeks ago on a third down along the sideline, for a back shoulder throw. So, they kind of just feed off each other, so to speak. But Joe, he's accurate. He's smart. He's got a strong enough arm. He does nothing but keep getting better.
And, they did a lot of this over the last month or so without Jamar Chase. And I think that is one of the more impressive things that we've seen from Joe Burrow is that last year, they surprised a lot of people, and the offense is a lot of, all right, Jamar's down there somewhere, get it done.
Yep.
But, when Jamar Chase goes down, I think a lot of people were, concerned about the offense. But you see, like you mentioned, Trenton Irwin, T. Higgins really emerged as a go-to guy. Tyler Boyd, Hayden Hurst at tight end. Mm-hmm. Like, this offense is full of talent that kind of gets overshadowed by Jamar Chase, but they really stepped up when their name was called upon.
Well, and how about last week, when Hayden Hurst gets hurt and Wilcox comes in and, he gets a big catch, and then he's got a trap block that springs Pirine, trap into the inside. So no, like I say, it's the guys enjoy the process of getting ready for a game, enjoy the process of working to get better. And when you got guys that enjoy that process, practice is not a work. It's something, it's not work. It's something you look forward to going out there to get, a little bit better today.
Defensively as well, that side of the ball has been a focal point for a lot of national media talking about, they might not have quote unquote like superstar names on that side of the ball, but we've seen how big an impact DJ Reader has made since he came back, specifically against Tennessee. Jermaine Pratt has been playing really well. Mike Hilton, they lose Chidobe Awuzie, but Cam Taylor-Britt has played well in aid of him. This defense, quietly one of the better units in football. And I don't think they get as much credit as they deserve for the success that the team's having right now.
No, and again, they're a smart defense, and Lou Anarumo really likes it because he can do a lot of things, give them a lot of defense for a game plan because those guys can execute a game plan. They don't have to keep it simplified, and I think that's one of the things that kind of gets to Patrick Mahomes, every once in a while is the amount of things that the Bengals do, and then when you've got pass rushers like Trey Hendrickson and Hubbard on the other side that can win their individual battles. That really helps when you got bookend defensive ends that can rush the passer. And I saw one stat where Trey Hendrickson his rush win rate was way up there in the top 5 in the league. So like I say, when you get that, you don't have to blitz all the time to put pressure on the quarterback. It's a huge advantage.
In terms of the rest of the AFC, obviously it's a very loaded conference in terms of the quarterback play with Patrick Mahomes, with Josh Allen. These three teams in terms of Buffalo, Kansas City, Cincinnati seem to be, the gauntlet, so to speak, of teams that will likely have to be gone through to get to the Super Bowl. How much do you like Cincinnati's odds of repeating and getting back to the Super Bowl, which is probably the hardest thing to do in sports is to get back to the Super Bowl. But if any team is equipped to do it, it is this Cincinnati Bengals team.
Yeah. How about the Rams? What do you think about them getting back to the Super Bowl? But, I think you got to throw, Baltimore and Lamar Jackson in there too when he's healthy. He can be, pose a lot of problems. And so, no, and it's going to be really interesting when Josh Allen, the Bills, come to town on January 2nd for a Monday night game and see how we stack up against the Bills. Because, it's not only their offense, they've got a pretty doggone good defense as well. And when you look at, the schedule is after the Browns, who is going to be a big game. The Bengals, Joe Burrow has not beaten the Browns in his 3 years, in the league. So they pose some problems to you, but then going down to Tampa Bay and facing Brady. And then you got, Buffalo, then you go to New England, which is never easy. Then you got Buffalo coming to town and you end up with Baltimore. I mean, they've got a grueling upcoming schedule.
Those are 5 games that, to end a season. I mean, it's not exactly a skip and loo to the playoffs.
No. But like I say, that's the kind of gauntlet you've got to go through if you're going to be successful. And I think, one of the things that it is Zach has been smart about, our team was as well rested and as healthy as any team in the league once our playoff run started last year. And then, they went, it's the longest season in NFL history. And he gave the guys more time off. He went a little easier in OTAs, a little bit easier in training camp, didn't play the guys in the preseason. I think, one of the reasons that we struggled a little bit early on was because of that, especially in the offensive line where you've got 4 new starters, trying to mesh. And, and then certainly I think, Joe Burrow was probably not as healthy as he let on for the first couple of weeks of the season after that appendectomy in training camp. And when he got his strength back, and again, the offensive line had a few weeks together, you can kind of see what they wanted to do. And, and here we go off to the races again.
Ken Anderson, sir. I always appreciate you giving me a few minutes of your time. Cincinnati looks great, and it's always good to talk to you when the Bengals are playing good. So hopefully, if I don't talk to you before that, have a great Christmas to you and your family. I appreciate you very, very much.
Well, you too. It's going to be a great Christmas for us. The moving truck comes down here to Hilton Head Wednesday and Thursday. We are moving back to Cincinnati.
Are you?
Yes, we are. So we'll be back there full time. And 6 grandkids between the ages of 11 and 3 are too much to be away from. I want my wife to be able to spend some time with her mom. And the foundation, the Ken Anderson Alliance, is growing rapidly. So, it needs a little bit of my personal attention too. But, if you happen to need a Ken Anderson jersey or a helmet or something like that, go to KenAndersonAlliance.org, go shopping there, and you can get all that stuff.
You know what? I might buy myself a Christmas present from there, my friend. That sounds great. Very happy for you and your family to be, back in Cincinnati. Congratulations on that. And thank you again for joining me.
My pleasure. Let's keep this going.
Absolutely. Thank you.